Hi, everybody. It's been a little bit of time since I've done one of these, so delighted to be talking to Isabel Verwagner-Kraus from Siemens Energy. And Isabel is going to talk to us about recruiter enablement, what's it all about in the context of her company. Isabel, give us a quick introduction to you, first of all. Tell us about your background. You didn't start as head of TA operations, did you? So how did you get to the job you're in?
Yeah, thanks, Adam, for the invite. So yeah, I'm Isabel Verwagner-Kraus. I'm leading the global ops team, as you just introduced myself. And so I'm in this role now for 4 years. And how I started, actually, I mean, it's years back. I started as a HR international trainee with the Bayer organization, and then did not, get involved into TA at all back then, and moved into a couple of roles, HR business partnering, then also talent management. And then when I joined Siemens in 2013, that's where I first dived into talent acquisition, more in a project manager role. And yeah, I'm in this role now for, as I said, 4 years, and it's been quite a roller coaster also since the carve out from Siemens AG to Siemens Energy. We rebuilt the entire infrastructure and was quite exciting. Yeah.
So, first of all, just tell us, how's talent acquisition changed over that 4 years? Because, I don't remember in my career a period of as much change. Tell what's been the big things that have happened since you joined the company?
I mean, there were a lot of things. I mean, as I said, we really had to build the infrastructure for ourselves. Yeah, I mean, build a technology base and then also ramp up the teams. And then obviously, first we started with low recruiting volumes. So that also meant that we had an in-house team. And then all of a sudden, there was this massive, it was not a hyper growth, but we started like hiring 8,000 people 3 years back. And then all of a sudden, we hired 10,000 more. So there was a challenge how we can also come up, cope with that speed. And we obviously started working with an RPO partner to really also give us this flexibility. And that was also, a challenge in itself to how to speed up that learning from the new recruiters, that they all of a sudden, understand what does Siemens Energy mean, what does the business need, and the different areas in the business, and, what are talents we are looking for. So yeah, it was quite interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, I've known you for a couple of years, I think, and I've certainly heard a lot about all the different things that have been happening. And it seems like quite a high kind of fast-paced for a large company. It's quite a fast-paced environment. Tell us, before we go into recruiter enablement, what does TA operations encompass at your company? What does that include?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I tend to phrase it in the sense that we take care of we are kind of the enablers. Yeah, so we are the ones that make TA work. So that means we ensure that there is an infrastructure, that recruiters have the tools they need to work with, but then also not only TA enablement, also hiring manager enablement. So how do we conduct interviews in Siemens Energy? Then we also have a couple of additional topics. As we don't have an early careers team, we also own our global graduate program within the global ops team. So yeah, it's a bit of a variety of topics. Also, the global referral program somehow sits within us because we are also there to do all of the channel management. So that's another aspect. Yeah,
So
and then
presumably,
budget and things like this. Yeah.
so presumably the structure is that you have a manager who's looking after each of these different areas. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. When it comes to enabling recruiters, um, it does include a lot of things, as you and I have talked about a few times, around giving them the technology, giving them the learning, giving them the assets. Um, how have you thought about it, and how do you make sure that your recruiters are best enabled?
Yeah, so what we started like 1.5 years back was that we brought the team on this journey of becoming more talent advisors. Yeah, so we really split the 360 recruiter role into 3 roles, so to speak. So we have now talent advisors who are more the hiring manager facing partners. And then we have the candidate experience partners or slash sourcers that are really the candidate facing people, really taking care of finding the greatest talent out there. And they are also the ones leveraging mainly the tools, like LinkedIn Recruiter, for instance. And then we have the admin, so we call them coordinators, and they are doing all of the, let's say, the admin stuff that's required. So that was quite a journey. Obviously, it is a change, and change is always, a bit, sometimes a bit painful as well, because people like to do what they are doing. But really, why we did this, it's because we had, first of all, this growth. And all of a sudden, we also realized in order to be more impactful, If we really separate those roles, we can first of all also be much faster, yeah, because the rec load became, more manageable. We come from a time where a recruiter had more than 80 requisitions, which was not sustainable anymore. And now we really come down to 23 recs per recruiter, approximately, depending on the job families, and that really made a big difference. Yeah.
And including hiring managers in this, what's the most important things that they need to be enabled with? You mentioned interviews, for example, but are there other things that you need to focus on?
Yeah, it's really, owning the process. Yeah. So for our recruiters, they can only do their part if the hiring managers, do theirs. So it's really a team effort, and that is quite a challenge. How to make them accountable? Yeah, that's again, they raise a requisition, they want to hire someone, so now they also need to, look at the short list, and that means there's a lot of also, pushing people in a nice way that they yeah, so that is a topic that is again more owned by our TA partners, because again they are the hiring manager facing ones. From our side, from a global standpoint, it's really this how we conduct interviews, yeah, also how this experience should be. So that comes from our side.
And there's a big impact on candidate experience and like a consistency of how people perceive Siemens Energy as an employer, I think, if you enable those talent partners and the candidate
Experience partners.
candidate experience partners. So because they're a real channel to market. So candidate experience is presumably an important focus.
Yes, it is. And I mean, are we already perfect? I'm sure not. So again, we started this journey, and there's still, the teams need to adapt to this and also find their sweet spot on how this can work. And one important element is actually also this, teamwork between the talent acquisition partners and the candidate experience partners, because they need to be super closely aligned. Because again, at the end of the day, they serve the hiring manager together as a team, but obviously the one is more, focused on the candidate side of things, and the other one is more focused on what does this hiring manager need. So it's really, again, the teams need to also grow together, and that takes some time.
Is there anything that you've done over the last 4 years that you would never do again?
That's a good question.
For anybody watching this, Isabel has not had any questions from me in advance, so I'm sorry about that. But yes, anything that you've done that you think, no, I wouldn't do that again, or anything that you've done that has worked a lot better than you expected.
Yeah, that's really good. So I would have done exactly the same thing. Yeah. So also, choosing an RPO partner and working closely with them, and then the model is great as of now. I mean, what would have been a bit better in general is, if you had a bit more time, if you had more time to also, I mean, prepare the organization, but that is never going to happen. Yeah, so that's why I'm not, yeah, no, I would really, again, do the same. It's the right way of, yeah.
I believe we're in a world now where anybody in talent acquisition who is going to be successful for the future, they need to be adaptable and they need to embrace new things and have a kind of growth mindset. What do you think about that?
I fully agree. I mean, AI is just one buzzword. Yeah. I mean, if we don't keep up with what's happening in that space, I mean, it's super important, yeah, to stay up to date and also try out a couple of things and be open-minded, be curious, and not be like, oh, okay, my job might be gone because of this AI. It's not the case as we see it also out there. I mean, even if we look at certain agents, or how do they call it? Yeah, I mean, agent-supported systems. I mean, it's not going to replace the human being at the end of the day. Yeah, but I mean, it's really, yeah. Sorry.
So if I said to you this, it's a bit of a cliche, but if I said recruiters are not going to be replaced by AI, but they'll be replaced by recruiters who are AI enabled, does that ring true?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I mean, honestly, I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know exactly, but I mean, that is fully what I would say. I mean, we also experiment with it. We are not, I mean, great yet, I would say. And when you look around in the industry, I mean, there is everybody, when you go to conferences, everybody's in the same position, more or less. Yeah, some are maybe a little bit more advanced than others. But yeah, I would say, I mean, yeah, embrace it, try it out and see how it can make your life easier. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you always have to already be perfect in it. So we all learn by also making mistakes and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that most organizations are actually not doing a huge amount right now, but those who will thrive in the future are the ones who are exploring what's the right way to use not just AI, but all technology.
Yeah.
Isabel, thank you very much for giving me some time today. It's been great to talk to you and find out some of your insights. And I know that everybody who watches this is going to find it very interesting. So my thanks and guten Tag.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks a lot.